What's up, Digitamers? Dale here from Zephyrwargames doing another feature profile on Joe's channel. So this is my second place Nightmare Soldier deck. Now what I really liked about Nightmare Soldier is it's a really kind of cool deck that what drew me to it was Piedmon. Like Piedmon's one of my favorite like villain Digimon from back in the original anime that led into Myotismon. And it was actually all well self-contained in the brand new set of EX8. Now EX, for those of you unfamiliar with that, they're basically like side sets in Digimon that are kind of deck building. What I mean by that is when you buy an EX box or in an EX box, you can get a full deck that is all within that box. So the previous deck that I built, one of the first Digimon decks that I got, was actually a Free Muskets deck, which was in a previous EX set. This most recent one introduced us to Nightmare Soldiers. It also introduced us to Pyramidmon. There's a water deck in there as well, Tyrannomon, and then obviously meta support for stuff like Gallantmon and Gallantmon X. So it's a really kind of cool, fun set, and I do advise it if you're new to the game of Digimon and you want to build a deck from an EX set, take a look at what's coming out, and then it will be very easy to get everything from in one go. Otherwise, you'll be picking up bits and pieces. So at my last locals, I took my Mastermon deck, and on my winners pack of an EX, I ended up pulling an alternate art Piedmon Ace. So I was like, right, okay, well, this now means I have to build this deck. And then in my winners pack for this one, I actually ended up putting an alternate art ball Boutmon. And what I love about Digimon is their alt arts are absolutely stunning. So I guess I'm going to have to pick two more of these up. Anyway, I feel that EX decks are great introductory decks because they're very cheap and easy to pick up. And the best thing that I like about the Musket deck in this deck is it's all multicolours, which I'll explain a little bit more in detail as I go through the video, as sometimes that can get a little bit confusing for people. So I'm going to be starting off by going through the profile. Please make sure you smash that like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe for more Digimon content, either from myself, Joe, or the rest of the team as well. So I'm going to start off with your rookies. So these are, actually we'll go through the eggs first. So we only play one egg, and the one egg that we play is the Demi-Miramon. So this is because it is an NSO, which is obviously a Nightmare Soldier, and it's in their trait. Now, trait is this little black bar right below the level. Now I'm going to try and get it as close to the camera as possible and try and maintain focus. There we go. So right under here is the trait. So it says in training, it says flame, and then it says NSO, which is obviously Nightmare Soldier, which is really important because we're going to be using loads of different Digimon. There's a bit of text on it that actually says that it can digivolve on top of something that has NSO, and it basically ignores its color. But the idea is that we use the Demi-Miramon, that when attacking, if this Digimon has an NSO trait, by trashing one card in your hand, you get to delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. So this is the one that came out in EX8. It's very easy to pick up, and yeah, that's the one you want to be starting with as your eggs. So for the starters of our rookies, we go with the free play cost of the Demi-Devimon. Now, you'll see more commonly when you go through and start building Digimon decks is that there are a lot of decks that have these now free cost cards that are basically on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and then add X, A, B, or C. So this one, you add one card with NSO trait in it, and then you can add one with Fallen Angel. Unfortunately, in this deck, the only one that has Fallen Angel is the Devimon, which is the other NSO card. So if you do reveal this and then any other NSO, you can add both, but very rarely will that happen, which is a little bit annoying. And then you'll see this little bit of black text here, which says Digivolve level 2 with /NSO trait of 0 cost. So it's less important on the Demi-Devimon because obviously this is going to be purple into purple anyway. But the benefit of that is if we were to Digivolve a Tapermon on top of a Demi-Miramon, in normal scenarios, you would need a yellow egg in order to do that. But because this card says NSO trait with 0 cost, it basically lets you bypass the color and you just go on top of an NSO. You can't go on top of any purple egg. You can go on top of any yellow egg, but you can also only go on top of any NSO. So if we got another NSO egg in the future that basically was like red, green, or blue, you'd still be able to put Tapermon on it, or you could put Demi-Devimon on top of it and everything else like that. The inherent skill of the Demi-Devimon is when attacking, once per turn you draw a card and then trash a card, which is quite good for this deck because you will see later on when we get to our bigger Digimon that you start reviving stuff back from the trash, which is really important. So then our next rookie, we are playing triple of the Tapiramon. Now, this one has like it doesn't have an inherited effect or anything, but it has kind of like a stun effect, which basically says your opponent cannot gain memory other than by Tamer effects, which means they can't use stuff like Amber Memory Boost or Purple Memory Boost, anything like that, which can be quite helpful. And the benefit of something like this is you kind of want to hard play your Demimon, because I think I mentioned this in the Master one. On-play effects only happen when you play the Digimon itself, not when you digivolve it. When you digivolve it on top of an egg, for example, you won't get the on-play effect. So you actually need to hard cast this card or revive it from the trash with other effects, which you'll see later on. So you don't really want to be digivolving this on top of a Demi Miramon. You kind of want to just be hard casting it. So you do want to play cards like the Tapermon to digivolve on top of your egg. And the other rookie that we play is the Candlemon. Now, this one again, it's a red card, but it does have that exact same Digivolve level 2 of an NSO trait card for 0 cost. Now, this one, on deletion, you gain 1 memory, which is quite important, as you'll actually see throughout the bigger ones as well. You have a lot of card effects that say delete one of your Digimon, or you just swing this into your opponent's security, and then if it gets deleted, you gain a memory. The inherited effect is your Digimon, during your turn, gets 2000 DP, which makes it a little bit stronger. Now, I do feel that I want to be upping the... I didn't even explain my matches, so I probably should explain my matches now. So round 1 was the NSO mirror. Very, very funny. I ended up losing that one. So game 1, I did quite well. And it was a weird scenario because whoever got the Bolt Balmon, which is obviously your main boss monster of this entire deck, onto the board first, it was very tricky because you kind of want to delete your own Digimon. And when you do that, their Bolt Balmon would trash your top security. So it was very tricky in going back and forth. But game 1, I was able to win that then. Game 2, I ended up bricking. I got no level 3, so I was never able to get my egg out of the zone or anything like that. And then in game 4, I bricked on all level 4s and had no... sorry, the other way around. I bricked on all level 3s but had no level 4, so it was a really weird scenario. After that, game 2, I think I was up against like Shumon. I'm not too familiar with loads of Digimons right now, but it was basically like a yellow deck, and he unfortunately bricked on no level 3s and then bricked on only level 3s. And then my final round was against Tyrannomon, which was actually really, really interesting to see because I was a bit worried about that deck because I hadn't really done any research into it. All I had known is in the past locals it had been doing quite well, but again, they kind of like in game 1 they didn't see any level 5s, and then in game 2 I kind of just started to get rid of their Digimon a little bit quicker. So yeah. So that's it for our rookies. So these are your starters. I feel I probably want to bump my rookies up by 1. I might play another Candlemon, but apart from my like dual 1 in the NSO mirror, I never felt like I bricked on these too much or too little, which was fine. Moving on to our champions. So we play 3 Demi Devimon. This one I definitely want to be I say definitely. I'm considering putting this back up to 4. So the reason I cut this down to 3 is right at the last minute I was messing around with some Tamers because my friend lent me the Shotos that I was after, but I hadn't really preemptively like decided what I was taking out for it. So I ended up sacrificing a Devimon for it, and I kind of want to be putting a Devimon back into it. But again, this one you'll see here, it says level 3 with NSO trait, which means, again, this can be digivolved on top of the Candlemon or the Tapermon as well, which is really important. It's a 2-cost Digivolution, but it's a 5-cost hard play. On play or when digivolving, you trash a card in your hand to give one of your opponent's Digimon on deletion, trash a card in your hand until the end of the turn. Now, mainly, more times than not, you're going to be using that just to trash a card, because then we do play a Mat Tamer that when you trash a card, you gain a memory. The inherited effect is draw 1, trash 1 on attack. The one level 4 that we play 4 of is the Apemon. Now, the reason that we play this is just because, as you'll see, whereas the Devimon is a play cost of 5, this is a play cost of 3. So you've got a card like Piedmon, which when you play it or when you delete another Digimon, you get to play a play cost of 3 from the trash. So rather than going for a level 3, you can actually go for a level 4, which can help you digivolve into your level 5s a lot faster. Again, this has the NSO Digivolve trait for 2, and then its inherited skill is it gives, when attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets neg 2000 DP. The last level 4 that I was playing was 2 of the Dokugumon. So this was a promo, so this is the only one that wasn't in EX, and the only reason I picked this one up is, again, it's another free play, play cost level 4. On play or on deletion, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and again, it's got the NSO trait as well. So it's one of the old ones that had the NSO trait. I picked these up on Card Market for like £1 a piece, so definitely worth getting. Yeah, I feel that if anything, I'd probably put the Devimon up by 1. But otherwise, I was relatively happy with this. You can play the Fire level 4 NSO as well, which is on play. You delete one of your opponent's Digimon of 4,000 or DP or less, which can be quite helpful. But again, I went with 9 of this and 9 level 3s, so it's relatively balanced. Moving on to the level 5. So for the level 5s, I was playing 3 Pumpkinmon. I was only playing 3 because I only had 3 at the start of the tournament. I probably would consider playing this at 4. There were times when you kind of want to be like, this is actually a really good card to have. Your main level 5 is your Myotismon, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, it's really kind of cool. So this one, it has a DNA Digivolve ability of a level 4 yellow plus a yellow for level 4 purple or red. So obviously, right now, you'd basically be your Apemon and your Demimon, but you'd probably use the level 4 fire one as well instead. It's also got a Digivolve onto a level 4 NSO of cost of 3, so it's 1 less than a normal purple on the top here. It's a play cost hard of 6. On play or when Digivolving, you return one of your cards with NSO trait in the trash to the hand. And then on deletion, one of your opponent's Digimon gets neg 4000 DP. And its inherited effect is actually really good, that on deletion, you recover 1 from your deck. So the best thing about that is when you get to your Bolt Balmon, you have an inherited skill off of the back of the Myotismon that lets you delete one of your Digimon. So you can delete the card that's like whatever you Digivolve on top of this. So let's say you Digivolve another Myotismon on top of this, you delete that Myotismon after it's attacked, and then you recover one of your security, which is really important. But yeah, I'd probably be playing, I picked up a 4th one at the end of the tournament, so I'll probably be playing a 4th Pumpkinmon, and I'll probably be reducing my Tamer count, which we'll see a little bit later on. And then for your most important level 5 is, of course, Myotismon, so you do max out on this playing 4 of this. So this is your level 5, it's a hard cost of 7, very rare that you actually want to be doing it, but there are some times when that comes up. And then it's a Digivolution of 3, again it has the NSO for Digivolve of 3 on top of an NSO. So when attacking, you get to play one of your NSO trait Digimon cards with a play cost of 3 or less from your trash, which is why your level 4s start to come up. Because if you were to attack with this Myotismon and then play the Dokugumon from the graveyard, or the trash, sorry, you can suspend one of your opponent's blockers, or on top of that as well, it also means that if this does get deleted by battle because you hit a high level security, you can just Digivolve on top of this again to get you a Myotismon back. So it gives you a bit more recursion. The best effect on this one is your turn, once per turn, when your Digimons are played or Digivolves, if any of them have the NSO trait, 2 of your Digimon may DNA Digivolve into a Digimon card with NSO trait in your hand. Then that DNA Digivolved Digimon may attack, which is really important because the idea is that at the end of your turn, what you can do, if you absolutely have to, is you can hard cast your Piedmon. You would reduce some of your opponent's DP, and then you can DNA Digivolve Piedmon plus your Myotismon and go into your Bolt Balmon, which I'll talk about in a second, but your Bolt Balmon is just freakishly insane. So the Piedmon, and I absolutely love this artwork, which is why I ended up getting into this deck anyway. So this one has a Digivolve cost of 3 on top of an NSO, but it's also an ace, so it gets to Digivolve or Blast Digivolve during your opponent's turn when they declare an attack on top of any of your technically purple or yellow Digimon, but it can also be on Levy 5. Now, obviously, it's only ever going to go over a Myotismon or a Pumpkinmon. But when it does that, it has an on-play effect, or when Digivolving effect, you get to activate the effect below 4 times. One of your opponent's Digimon gets neg 2000 DP for that turn. Now, the best thing about that, and the reason it's so good about using that effect 4 times, is if they have, for example, 2K 2000 DP Digimon and 1 4000 DP Digimon, you can go, okay, cool, 2000 off of that one, 2000 off of that one, and then 4000 off of that one, and delete all 3 of their Digimon, which is really cool. And then what happens is all turns, once per turn, when other Digimons are deleted, you get to play a level 4 or lower NSO trait Digimon card from your trash without paying its cost. So obviously the idea behind that is you're probably going to want to start bringing back your Devimons, because when you do that, this will then search the top 3 cards of your deck, which is really important for recursion. And then obviously the idea behind that is once you do this, you delete all of your opponent's lower memory or the lower DP monsters. And then if you reduce your opponent's DP monsters enough, when you DNA Digivolve into your main boss monster, being the Bolt Balmon, you then get to de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon by 3, which is really important. Basically take away the last 3 Digivolutions, and then all of their Digimon gets neg 6000 DP. And then if you DNA Digivolve, you get to play up to 10 play cost totals worth of NSO trait Digimon from your trash. So again, your place cost is this one, not the level down here. So which again, why the Dokugumons and your 8mons are important, because technically, if I wanted to, I could play all 3 of these from my trash off of the back of your Bolt Balmon. But more times than not, what you're probably going to be doing is you'll bring back a Myotismon, and then you bring back one of your level 3s, mainly your Devimon, because you'll be setting up Scapegoat and everything else in between. So this one is a DNA Digivolve of a purple and a purple or a black level 6 plus a yellow or a green level 6. So it can just hard use the Piedmon and then your other level 6s, which will be your Callismon and your Skull Mammothmon, which we'll talk about in a second. But mainly you'll be using Piedmon and Myotismon for cost of 0. And then on top of that, after you've done all of the de-Digivolving, the reducing attack, and then playing 10 cost from the trash, All turns, once per turn, when other Digimon are deleted, you trash your opponent's top security check, which is absolutely insane because then if they delete one of your Digimon, your Bolt Bowmon will delete their trash card during their turn, or if you delete one of your Digimon through Scapegoat, again, you get to trash their top security. Like, this card as a boss monster in the game, from what I've played so far, is beautifully insane. And you can kind of now understand, like, I love this artwork, him holding the wine, being a full-on pirate, and I did really like these artworks, and I was like, I'll hold off, and then I pulled this, and I'm like, damn it, I better get the other two. But the artworks on these are just so good. Anyway, the other level 6s, so I was playing the one Skull Mammothmon. Again, this was a last minute change when I was trying to add in the Shotos. But honestly, I was actually quite happy I kept it in. There was a game where this actually came up. So this one is, again, it can Digivolve on top of an NSO for a cost of 3 of a level 5. When Digivolving, you get to play an NSO trait Digimon card with a play cost of 5 or less from your hand or trash without playing its cost. So obviously, if you put this on top of a Pumpkinmon or you put it on top of a Myotismon, it can also bring back a Pumpkinmon or a Myotismon from the grave or the trash. On deletion, you recover 1 from the deck. So the best thing about this is if this is Digivolved on top of a Pumpkinmon, and you delete your delete your Skull Mammothmon with the Pumpkinmon attached, you'll actually recover 2, which is really cool. And then the last kind of big boss monster we play is the Callismon. So this one has a DNA Digivolve of a green or purple level 5 and then a red or yellow level 5. It can also go on top of any level 5 NSO for a cost of 3. When Digivolving, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers and you return one of their suspended Tamers to the bottom of the deck. And then your turn, for each colour in this Digimon's Digievolution card's units, it gains plus 1000 DP. While your opponent has no Digimon with as much or more DP as this Digimon, it gains piercing and +1 security. So the idea is that, again, you can DNA Digivolve using Myotismon plus your Pumpkinmon rather than going into a Piedmon and into a Bolt Bowmon and going to this guy. This guy will then get to attack. It will be plus X amount of stats because you'll be using your Pumpkinmon and your Myotismon, which means at the very least it will have purple and yellow, putting up to a base of 14, and then obviously if your level 3 is a Candlemon, you're giving it a red as well, so it's going to go up to a base of 15, and then it'll be swinging with piercing, so whatever it attacks, it will pierce and do double damage, do 2 security checks. So you can clear off one of your opponent's Digimon, and if they've got like an ace on the board, for example, you could kill that ace, and then you'd still do 2 security checks, and then you'd overflow the memory back. So if you need to, you actually get to attack again. And one effect that I looked over, which I probably should really explain because it's quite important, is the ability of your Myotismon that when attacking, the inherited effect, so it will give it to the Callismon or the Bolt Bowmon, is when attacking once per turn, by deleting one of your other Digimon, this Digimon unsuspends. So the best thing about that is, even if you clear off your opponent's board with your Piedmon, when you attack with the Bolt Bowmon, you can use the inherited effect of this to pop one of your other like lower Digimon. So you could even pop your Candlemon, gain a memory off the back of that, and then restand your Bolt Bowmon. So if it stays within your turn, your Bolt Bowmon gets to attack again, which is crazy. The one thing that I would probably consider putting back in here, or maybe instead of the 4th Pumpkinmon, is play the 1 Scoldramon, because the Scoldramon gives an inherited attack of a +1 security. So it means that if my level 5 under the Bolt Bowmon, or under even my Piedmon, or under the Piedmon, when I make the Bolt Bowmon, actually gives it a +1 security, which is pretty strong, because then it means that when I attack with my Bolt Bowmon, I'll be doing trash 1 and then check of 2, and then if it gets to restand and I still maintain my turn and I get to attack with the Bolt Bowmon again, it will do another check of 2, so Bolt Bowmon on its own can technically check all 5 security, which is mental. And then moving into the Tamers, so shout out to Kev who gave me the Matashidas. You definitely want to be playing at least 2 of this. So this is just your memory setter, but then it has this really cool effect that all turns, when one of your effects trashes a card in your hand, by suspending this Tamer, you gain a memory. So that's really kind of cool, because then when you use something like your Demimon, or even when you activate some of the inherited effects on your bigger Digimon that lets you draw 1 and trash 1, you can gain a memory back. Another one, massive shout out to Kev, I need to pick up my own copies of this, is Shoto. So what I kind of felt when I was playing this deck is that every time I ended my turn, or every time I was summoning back loads of little Digimon off of the back of the Bolt Bowmon or the Piedmon, is they weren't really protecting me. They were still there as scapegoat options, and I'll explain scapegoat when we get to the option card. But I felt that if I had a Shoto, I could technically make my Bolt Bowmon like a 15k blocker. And the best thing about that is if I blocked with my Bolt Bowmon, or if I blocked with even any of my lower Digimon and they were deleted, I could then use the Bolt Bowmon's effect to trash the top one of my opponent's security. So it basically turned any of my Digimon that became a blocker, when it was destroyed, I would trash the top of, I would block and then trash the top security of my opponent's security stat, which was mental. At the start of the main as well, if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain an additional memory, so it basically means your opponent can't memory choke you, which is really kind of cool. It does also give piercing to the Digimon, so like at the end of the turn, by suspending this Tamer, one of your Digimon gains piercing and blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. Now the piercing is only relevant if you play Vortex, because if you do, it gets to attack at the end of the turn, whereas we're not doing that. You're basically just giving a blocker to your NSO cards, which is really cool. The Tamers I'm definitely taking out, and if anything, I might get a third Shoto and a third Mat, but you don't really need these. I was playing 2 Digimon Emperor and the 1 Analog Youth. The fact of the matter is, I didn't bring my other Analog Youth with me, otherwise they would have been the Digimon Emperors, and I felt, you know what, I'll just keep the Emperors in rather than making any rash last-minute decisions that might completely mess up the strategy. But this can also very easily become another level 3, another level 4, and another level 5. So I felt that I was playing too many Tamers, whereas these were like the only Tamers you really need to play. So that's it for the Tamer lineup, and now moving on to the option lineup. Now the best option that Nightmare Soldiers has is Nightmare Soldiers. Now I'm only playing 3 of this, you can play 4 if you want to, but the issue is once you've activated and resolved this, the second copy is pretty much dead. So while you have no face-up security cards, you may ignore this card's colour requirements. When you activate it, so when you play this for a 2 cost, add your bottom security card to the hand, and then you place this card face up as your bottom security. While it is in your security, all turns, all of your level 4 or higher Digimon with NSO trait gain Scapegoat, which basically means if your level 4 or higher Digimon would be deleted by any other means, they could delete one of your other Digimon instead. So the best thing about that is if I had a Bolt Balmon, or even a Piedmon, and my opponent was trying to kill the Piedmon so that I would overflow and give them back memory, I can actually just go, okay, cool, well, this is face off my security. I can use Scapegoat to kill the Demimon that I might have brought back earlier in the turn, or the Candlemon. So I would delete the Candlemon. Candlemon would give me back a memory, and then this survives as well, so I don't overflow. And it actually probably gives me more memory and then turns a tide back over to me. So this card is absolutely insane for the deck. You can play 4 of it if you want to. I feel 4 is too much because, like I said, once you've activated and resolved it, that is it. It also has the NSO trait, so it is searchable within reason off of the back of your Demimon and everything else. And then its security effect is lets you play a level 5 or lower Digimon with NSO trait from your hand without paying its cost. The other options I was playing was free Amber Memory Boost. So obviously this can be used as purple meeting its colour requirements. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and you add a yellow or a purple. And then delay effect means during the next turn after you've activated this or any turn afterwards, you can delete this or send it to the trash and then you gain 2 memory. The other one that I put in as well was Missed Memory Boost. So this one lets you trash the top 2 cards of your deck to draw a card, and its delay effect is during the next turn or the turn after that. You get to send this to the trash to gain 2 memory. Now the reason I did that is because there was early stages. If I already opened up routes to Piedmon Ace or Bolt Balmon, I wanted to make sure that I had Digimon in the trash that I could revive with both of their effects. If you didn't have them to revive, their effects become a lot less effective, and then it doesn't set you up with a Scapegoat protection. So again, probably messing with the memory boost. I'd probably take out 1 Amber and just play a 2 and a 2. But you do need to be a little bit careful with this, which is why it's still something that I'm tweaking and changing with. But I thought it was kind of cool as well that I was able to take the deck to my first locals. Ended up getting so first place was joint, and then I ended up sneaking in. I think it was officially 3rd was what I was given. But obviously, if top 2 were joint on first, I kind of snuck in on 2nd, and then, like I said, I was able to pull the Bolt Balmon, so this goes straight into the deck. I'm not the biggest fan of playing mixed rarities of cards in this game, just because their artworks look so different. I don't want to get confused. But I'm definitely going to be looking to upgrade the Bolt Balmons. So we'll start off by upgrading this one now. I just look at the artworks on these. It's just absolutely insane. And then this one has detail on it as well, and just both the artworks are really, really kind of cool. But the benefit of the full arts is you get rid of this silver border, which kind of takes away from it. But there are times where I'm I wish this artwork was full art. But I still love this one as well. This one's really kind of cool. It's like a jester into a pirate is that's kind of a cool deck, man. What a cool theme behind it. Anyway, I hope I've presented this with as much detail as possible. Like I said, I'm not the most versed in Digimon and the mechanics and everything else around it. There might be other decks out there that like NSO. There might be more NSO decks and more information on that stuff. But I'm basically just kind of giving you my opinion as a player that's come from a different card game, how I'm developing into it, and trying to use this as a platform to spread the game to more players and also introduce them to game style. So if you're I don't know what deck to get, I don't know where to start, what I would highly advise a lot of you to do is try and find a Digimon that you like. So that's where I start. I started off with testing loads of different decks, didn't really like them, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not really going to invest in this. And then my friend lent me Muskets, and I was like, oh, I like the way this plays. Played it, and I was like, okay, I can see where it's not to the competitive value as I might like, but I did like Mastermon back in the day. So I was like, okay, cool, well, I'll build the Mastermon deck. I really enjoyed it, played really well for it. And then my Mastermon, Piedmon was a brand new kind of like card that came out, and I was like, wow, I love the artwork on this, and I used to like Piedmon, and I love the nightmaresoldiers. What can I do? And then people were like, yo, it's really cheap. Like, you can pick this up really, really cheaply. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll complete the deck. I pulled one of these. I bought the other 3 for like £10 each. That it came with a Bolt Balmon himself. And then my friend gave me, so again, shout out to Joe, who gave me some of the supers in the form of like the Myotismon and the Pumpkinmon and everything else for free. So it was really cheap and easy to pick together. So basically, if you find a Digimon that you enjoy, you'll enjoy the deck a lot more and you'll have a lot more fun with it. Even if you're not winning, like you still enjoy the playstyle and everything else behind it and just learning it. And what I do like about Digimon is that any deck, in theory, can beat any deck. There are decks that are generally designed to be a lot slower. There are decks that are generally designed to be a lot faster, which will struggle against each other. But you never know. Like, there's a lot of luck based into it of like, you don't know what your security is unless you're controlling that. So your opponent could be swinging into your security going, yeah, I don't need to worry about this unless I hit a 15 DP monster. And then that's exactly what happens is they hit a 15 DP and it completely changes the tide of the game, which is really cool. And what I love about the Bolt Balmon is I always felt that the Digivolve aspect of a card is actually really important. Like, a lot of Digimon can protect themselves from being deleted, but not many can protect themselves from being Digivolved, which is really, really powerful as well. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's given you a lot of information to kind of take in and digest. This is what I'm trying to do with these videos. If you do have any feedback in regards to like maybe I'm putting too much information in it, maybe the videos are too long or you want them to be longer or whatnot, then let me know. And I'll be more than happy to kind of like adapt it to your kind of, I can't obviously do it for everyone, but I'll be more than happy to kind of adapt it to the most to make it as informative as possible and give you as much of an introduction to it as I can, because I really do enjoy this game. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I've only been able to go to a couple of locals every now and then, but it's still so fun, and just playing casually and playing with friends and everything else like that, it's been a really kind of cool experience, so I'd like to keep that going. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and keep on digivolving.